What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Battlefield Project podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Rhoda, and we are the podcast for people who understand that life is a battle and only the strong will thrive. I'm joined here by my good friend, Travis Wells, who I'm going to introduce in a minute. But before I do, I have two favors to ask. One, if you watch this show and you get any value out of it, which I'm sure you will, please share it with friends and family. The goal of this podcast is basically to inspire people and to show all of you who are watching and listening that every single human being on this earth goes through battles in their lives. The difference between people who are winning and succeeding in life, they fight their way through those battles and come out stronger on the other side. And the people who are losing and playing the victim card in life, they're not having a good time. And it's because they're not fighting their way through those battles. So my goal is to shine a light on guests from all different walks of life. And have them come on the show and share some of the battles that they've experienced and how and why they fought their way through those battles. And I did say I have two favors to ask, but I really only have that favor to ask. So I'm just going to skip right into introducing my good buddy here, Travis. Travis is originally from North Carolina, but his mom moved him to Texas at a young age when his dad went to prison, and he's been there ever since. He graduated second to last in high school because he hated school and was kicked out of college. I was kicked out of college. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Travis started working construction and a few years later had a very bad accident while doing a demo. He was impaled through the chest when an awning collapsed. He coached tennis at a school afterwards, then went into oil and gas and worked his way up from driving a truck to an engineer where he dealt with explosives to the vice president of the company. He now owns 60 doors in real estate and is a real estate broker. In his free time, he's a bodybuilder, and he's also been a vegan for 6 years. And at the end, I'm going to get in the show notes and I'm asking where people can connect with him, but the dude's ripped, man. There's not too many people online where I'm like, okay, like I see you, and like there's like right there, like a couple steps ahead of me. But this is one of those dudes, man. So he's an awesome human being doing cool things, man. Travis, thanks for being here, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure.
All the things you said were true, I swear.
Yeah, I know. That's I love like I read bios and there's so many similarities with it. It's like, yeah, I did not like school. Yes, I got kicked out of college. I'm like, gosh, like. And now, like, you know, we're running the same circles, like doing similar things. It's like no one gets through life unscathed, man. It's just like with like the purpose of this show is that you fight your way through it and you come out strong on the other side, man. So with that being said, like we said before the recording, man, whatever battles you've experienced in life, 2, 3, one of them, however long it takes, whatever you're comfortable sharing with our audience, and then why and how you fought your way through those battles, I'm excited to hear about it.
Cool. And like you said, I mean, like, some people relate to some people's stories better and whatnot. We naturally have a tendency to want to relate to one another, and that's cool. I like that we have that tendency because we're supposed to understand and listen, right?
That's it.
So I'll just go through my story, like you said in the bio, you know, and I'll try to make it quick. And so, you know, I'm from North Carolina. Don't remember much from those days. I was a kid then. My dad went to prison. Mom was a sharp cookie. She decided to go to Texas because the economy was much better there. North Carolina, it was tough to make money back then unless you owned like a tobacco field.
Yeah.
And especially where we're from, like, you know, we're from like the woods. So anyway, she took off and went to Texas, worked her way up in the banking system, opened up a mortgage company, a branch of one. I ended up doing mortgage because I hated school. Got kicked out of college. I was working construction in college, all that. Ended up coming to work for her actually in mortgage business, and that's when mortgage collapsed. I was actually making really good money when it was going on, you know, but industry collapsed. Ended up going and working out on drilling rigs. Met a girl, decided, hey, I don't want to be gone all the time, so started coaching tennis, and I was doing like construction and stuff on the side. But anyway, on my construction job, this was like my early 20s, is more the interesting part of the story is and one day I was walking up to our site, and we were all doing our safety huddle, talking about what we were going to do for the day, and everybody kind of dispersed to go about their way. And I just hear like a crack above me, and I look up, and there was an awning, like a support beam holding up an awning to the side of the house. And I look up, and this beam just like, boom, goes right in my chest, pins me to a garage. And I'm just like, oh crap. I look down. I don't feel anything, right? I'm just like, oh, it's like a movie. I'm like, dang. Like, okay, what do I do? And then I'm like, I can't talk. I can't breathe. So I'm like signaling people over there to come help me. And they freak. And I'm like, pull it out, you know? So we pull this like huge beam out of my chest. and I just collapsed, and I realized real quick, I'm like, dude, like bones are broke. There's a hole in my chest.
Yeah.
So like, and I couldn't breathe. I was like drowning. It sounds like a crazy deal, but it was all slow motion, right? So I just I remember I grabbed my blue jean jacket, like tied that thing, like I was on the ground, like tied that thing around my chest. I told my buddy, I was like, take me to the hospital.
Yeah.
These dudes pick me up, carry me, and like my left side's like just like broke.
Yeah.
And they take me, my buddy, I remember he's like going through every front yard, like through
Yeah.
like signs. And I was like,
Yeah.
holy crap.
We're getting there. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got there and they did like emergency surgery, ended up removing half of my pectoral muscle.
Okay.
It was a joke for a long time. People would call me half tit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I never got it replaced. I almost did several times, like an implant, but I was like, man, I'm a rocket.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Yep.
So like if you ever see me, I'm a bodybuilder, so when I pose, I'm missing half a chest, but I just rock it.
Yeah, dude. That's the way to go, man. Own it.
Yeah, dude. So ended up kind of that whole thing was like a catalyst to me, like thinking bigger. I was like, dude, like I gotta like slow down and stop. I was still kind of wild in those days. I contributed like the brain fog and all that stuff to not like have the sense to not be in the situation I was in at the time.
Yeah.
So that kind of, like I said, was the catalyst to me like slowing down, thinking bigger, and doing other things. So I ended up in the oil and gas industry again shortly after that. Started driving trucks because I wanted to make money, and I didn't want to do construction. I was like, I'm not going to get back on rehab.
Yeah, right.
But I started wiring explosives, right? So
Yeah, that's a lot safer, right? Jeez,
yeah. Worked my way up to an engineer, started wiring explosives, just kind of doing that day in and day out, not sleeping for weeks at a time, worked my way up to the VP of this company, and I've been buying real estate for the last like 12 years since I've been doing that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with the money while I was in the field.
Yeah.
So and ended up getting my real estate license while I was in the field. Like every month I would take a course, and I got my broker's license too. So now I own 60 doors, and I'm the vice president of this company, and I'm a broker of a real estate company.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
How did you get into real estate? Like, did someone we were like, I got this money, what do I do with it? Someone told you, or like you were like watching people doing it, or like what led you in that direction? That's one thing I wish I would have done at a young. I sold drugs in college and made decent money doing it. That's why I got kicked out of college for a semester. And I made the money and then I blew it on a different drug that I wasn't selling. So like I got nothing to show for it. But I'm like, now that I'm like past that phase as a successful adult, I guess you'd call it. I'm like, man, if I would have taken that money that I made selling drugs in college and invested into real estate, I'd be like living super large financially right now. I'm like, the regret is strong. How did you get into that field? Like, you have a mentor, or what led you in that direction?
Yeah, so I was actually making like 50 grand a month in the field while I was doing explosive work. I was making a crap load of money. You're talking about a kid that never made anything, right? Yeah. Holy crap.
Yeah.
And my granddad, anyway, sorry, my granddad owns a lot of property. Okay. So growing up, he always wanted me to go to college. So like he would like put me to work, right? And like so that I wouldn't want to do that, like that I would want to go to school.
Yeah.
So he had me hanging sheetrock, painting, he wouldn't even let me put the roof up. He would have me taking it down.
Yeah.
And just all the crazy work he'd make me do, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, so I already had like a backing from that as a kid.
Yeah.
And then I called him because I was like, what am I going to do with this money I'm making? Like, I got to invest it. Like, I don't like things. I have like the same 5 shirts.
Yep.
I have a pair of tennis shoes and a pair of boots. Like,
I
don't like things. I just don't, right?
Yep.
And anyway, he had a house that he sold to me. Now knowing what I know, he didn't give me a deal on it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
I overpaid, but it was cool. It got me in, right?
Yeah.
He sold me a house. But what was cool is he had like a shack. He gave me like this house that was like dilapidated too. Yeah. He's like, figure it out. I don't want it. It's my. So anyway, I ended up with like 2 houses, and I had to figure it out. And I put the one that was like dilapidated on a note because I was like, man, I have this money, but I don't want to like invest it in this house. It's a piece of crap. And
Yeah.
I'll find somebody that does want it to fix it up and I'll just owner finance it to them.
Yep.
I knew nothing about that. I found somebody, they wrote up the stuff and I did that.
Yeah.
I still
Yep.
have that note to this day. I did it for like a good percentage rate, like for a
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
And then and it's a nice house now. They put a ton of money into it.
Yeah.
So if they ever didn't pay me, I got a nice
Yeah.
house.
I was gonna say you got an asset. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I still own that first house I bought from them. But so the cool thing about that first house was when I got it rented. No, it was already rented. Once it got paid down a little bit, the market went up at some point. I did a cash out refinance. So
Yeah.
I have a mortgage background. I know this part. I know
Yeah.
how to
You know how to play that game. Yeah.
yeah, well, if you cash out of a house, that's tax-free money. I was
Okay.
like, oh, I got this house. I know about this cash out refi. So I went to the bank. They gave me like 20K tax-free. And I'm getting rent from this house.
Yeah.
And my payment's not even much different. My
Yeah.
rate's lower. My payment's not much different. They gave me 20K tax-free.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. I could do something like this.
Yeah. So I started doing that. They call it BRRRR now. Like you
Okay.
buy a house for like a 60 to 70% discount, which people are like, oh, we're going to do that. Everybody says you can't do it. It's easy. You just
Yeah.
got to get offers.
Yeah.
But you find this discounted house and you make an offer. Well, now I buy houses and none of it's my cash. Like I
Yeah.
have private lenders that they'll lend on the purchase price plus the rehab. So I'll be like, hey, look, because I got street credit.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got this deal. It's like now they're like 40 to 50%,
Yeah.
like value. And I'm gonna put 20 into it. It's gonna be worth double when I'm done with it.
Yeah.
You lend everything. They're like, sure.
Yeah.
Wire me the money. And we'll go to title. Boom, done.
Done. Yeah.
Just rinse and repeat.
Yeah. I gotta get in that game, man. That's like my next goal is like get these businesses that I got right now to a point where, and then so I'm about to say something, and you're gonna hear it and you're gonna be like, you're an idiot. You don't need to wait till that point because I hear that all the time. But then like because I'm not in that game and I don't play, I'm like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like I have to wait till I have like $100,000 in savings that I can go like put money down and have money to invest in like the rehab so I can get that one, then get my own money to do that. And people are like, no. And hearing you say that, you're like, it's none of my money. And I always like all the successful people are like, you don't use your own money. Like you never use your own money. I'm like, how the fuck do you do this where you're not using your own money? But like, yeah, dude, I admire what you're doing. It's super impressive. It's like something I
got a
strive
story for you.
Please.
Thanks, man. So my girlfriend, she wanted to buy rental properties because she sees me do it all the time. She's like, hey, this is freaking awesome, right?
Yeah.
I'll save up some money, whatever. Well, long story short, she didn't save up the money. And she ended up buying 2 houses recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't find these deals for her, but she's been seeing me do this stuff. We've been talking. Man, my dog's freaking out.
I got 2 dogs that can blow up at any
These
time.
These people came to put the gym together. Let me put this dog up. Hang on.
Yeah, go for it, brother. Yep.
Sorry.
No, take your time.
That's Merengue.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
My dogs are hoodlums, man. My apologies.
No, I've got 2 dogs like circling me like sharks in the water right now. And if anything happens upstairs, I'm always like, please no sounds upstairs because they'll both blow up. I have to hit the mute button super quick. So I get it, man.
Yeah, these dudes I hired on a Facebook group, they came to put the stuff together.
That's right, nice.
2 days, but anyways. So yeah, anyway, my girlfriend wanted to buy some houses. She'd been putting it off forever.
Yeah.
And she found these 2 deals on MLS, on Zillow.
Yeah.
Because I'm always saying, I'm like, it's not hard. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Like they might be listed for this amount, but I'll offer half of that. All they're going to tell
See
you
what
is
happens.
like,
Yeah.
she did that. And she got 2 houses for $65,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And in Corpus Christi, down South Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And she's putting, I don't know, she's putting, let me think, $28,000 in, which she took a credit line out.
Yeah.
She took a loan out for the rehab.
Yep.
And she's going to make $2,000 a month in rent on these houses.
Awesome.
Like literally none of her money.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
still stressful because she's like, oh my God, I gotta pay the contract every day, this and
Yeah.
that. It's like way out of your comfort zone. I'm like, I
Yeah.
get it. I'm like, it is what it is. Just
Push through, force your way through it a couple
let it
times.
roll.
Yeah, let it run. Yeah. Do you flip or do you just buy and rent?
I just buy and rent. Now
Okay.
I am in the middle of a flip.
Okay.
It's funny. I have a bunch of property. I have 60 properties, but I've never flipped a house until recently.
Okay.
I always just keep them. It doesn't make sense to me. Like I'm like, it's like a short-term
I say you
game.
make a couple like tens of thousands, but long term it's probably pennies to what you could just
Yeah,
rent it out and build an asset and have an
yeah,
equity and all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna make 100K on this one flip, and I want to keep it. But it doesn't make sense to rent. That's the only time
Yeah.
I'll flip something. Like if I ran the rent comps and I'm like, man, this just doesn't make sense. Like
Yeah.
with the mortgage payment I'm gonna have if I pull money out,
Yeah.
I'll make money on it. But like flipping is the most stressful thing because the hardest thing, no matter what anybody says in real estate, is dealing with contractors.
Yeah. I get that.
People don't show up. You're emotional because it's your money.
I
Your
need it done ASAP and they're like, it'll get done when it gets done.
it's our job. Like we got
Yeah.
other stuff to do, and you're like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm gonna put you in a head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
You can't. You just be like, okay, okay, I need this. I need these people. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You can't piss them off, push too hard because then they just disappear. Now you're definitely screwed. Yeah.
yeah,
Let me ask you about because man, I don't and like I hate the phrase pick your brain. So like I said, I could have a conversation with you for days about that kind of stuff because it's like where I want to go. But when you got impaled, like to go back to that part of your story, like how long, like was that a major rehab? Like how long were you down and out? Because like I mean, I've seen your poses, and you can like I know there's a muscle missing there. It's obvious. Like that seems like a pretty traumatic like injury to go through. Was it?
yeah, man. It moved my heart. Like
Yeah,
literally moved my heart. It didn't puncture it, obviously. Like,
yeah,
but I guess your heart's a slippery deal. But anyway, it moved it, broke my ribs. When my ribs broke, they went into my lung. So that's why I couldn't breathe. And I figured that
yeah,
out real quick. Like that's why a lot of people like die when that happens is because they're like freaking and they're trying to breathe and you just drown.
yeah,
For some reason in my brain intuitively, I knew exactly what happened when it
yeah,
happened.
yeah,
And I was just like, okay, like chill. And I was just like, okay, try to take little breaths. So I was just like for like hours. That's what I was doing.
yeah. Jeez, man. And you
Yeah.
said you were laying on the ground and tied a denim jacket around yourself. Like when
Yeah.
you
I was
said that,
just
I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, the dude like just got impaled and he's like laying there like, okay, I gotta like tie something up here, like save myself. Like who has the presence of mind to do that? Most people, like you said, would be total panic mode and probably die because of like the panic aspect of it, and their body just like shuts down because it's like we have no shot. Your body was like, okay, this dude's like he's in pain, like he's screwed, but like he's logically working his way through this. Like we'll give him a chance to survive this nonsense.
Yeah, like I said, I was super fortunate to have the mental capacity at the time. I still don't understand it. I was like slow motion. I was like, okay, there's a hole. I'm bleeding out.
Yeah.
Close the hole. And I was like in my brain, I was like, my lungs collapsed. I was like, take small breaths, like literally,
Yeah.
and
That's
then I'm like,
crazy.
hey, take me, and then I'm like, okay, keep me still. It's just I
Yeah.
was really fortunate. Yeah.
Yeah. So how long between that happening and then like did you start like were you bodybuilding before that and that just got in the way, or like that happened and like years later you were like I want to bodybuild despite the fact that I just lost half a chest muscle?
So it's interesting. I didn't start bodybuilding. That was like when I was like 21. I didn't start bodybuilding until like 4 years ago.
Okay. Wow.
36.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I always worked out, right? Always worked out. Even when I was on the rigs, my crew would always know we got to take Travis's freaking weights, his weight set.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that sucks. I'd be like, hey, is my weights loaded?
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna
you
get the
know,
best me if it's here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I lived out in like wherever I was at in the country. I lived out on a location full of dirt
Yeah.
and pigs and whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
but I don't know. One day it clicked, man. I was like, I'm not like I don't look like these people want to look like. Like, what's the
Yeah.
disconnect? Like, why am I working like so hard all the time?
Yeah.
And I hired a nutrition coach. He was a vegan nutrition coach because I
Yeah.
had a few years prior.
Okay.
And, actually, the student's like top in the world, really well known. He was the first IFBB pro that was vegan.
Okay. Cool.
hired him, got in his group, and they taught me how to like build muscle and like
Yeah,
build, and while you're still vegan because it's completely different.
I bet.
Yeah, and I got addicted to it. Like my first transformation, I was like a skinny dude, right? Like I'm always
Yeah.
working out, so I'm skinny.
Yep.
And like you can see some stuff, but there's no like I don't look like you
No
know.
bulk. Yeah.
And anyway, they taught me, and it's just I've been going on cycles ever since. And every time you go on that shred, it's like addicting because your vascularity comes out, you
Yep.
look freaking rocking,
Yep.
right? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that dude's great.
Yeah.
And you bulk up right. I did that wrong a long time, and look fat. But you bulk up right, you still got good size. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, that dude's doing something.
Yeah. Yep.
Shred it back down. You're 10 pounds heavier after you shred down. You're like, boom. It's just
Yeah.
you know.
I get that, man. That's my wife. I like every day. I'm like, I gotta go work out. She's like, you're kind of addicted to this. I'm like, yeah, I definitely am. Like, I don't have any problem admitting that. Like before it was drugs and like crap in my life, and now I'm like, I just got rid of all that, and like now it's this instead. But like I was like, which one would you rather have? Like me addicted to drugs, laying on the couch, like waste of space, or like 40-year-old dude who's got like a pretty shredded body and like is going to maintain that hopefully for the rest of his life. I'm like, I think I know what your choice is here. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
That addictive personality, I see so much in successful people though.
Yeah.
Like
You
you
just got
just
to harness it.
tunneled in, and it's like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Like
Yeah.
there's no like,
Extremes. Yeah. That's
there's no like, I'm gonna dip my toe in.
no like middle ground. That's like it's either way over here or way over here. It's like I use the example all the time, and that's how I'm with food too. Like like almost everything in my life, I have that addictive personality. So that's why when I go like on good nutrition, like I'm really, really, really on point with my nutrition because I can't just like scale it back a little bit and be in the middle. And my wife, like I always use the example, she'll get like a tin of like dark chocolate almonds, and like she'll get like 3 or 4 a night, and like eat 3 or 4 of them, put them back, and she's done for the night. And they last like one tin will last like months in our house if I'm not touching it. But if I go in for it, it's like that night, like I eat an entire tin of them. I'm like, shit, I didn't need that many. And like, but I just go all in on it. So that's why I'm like, I got to harness, like, I know this, it's a weakness that I've come to recognize, and now I just use it as a strength because I don't allow that weakness to show its face, because if it does, I know it can take over and take control of me, and I don't want that to be part of my story. But it's tough at first until you're like, okay, I'm good with going extreme. Like I'm an extreme personality, and that's who I am, and that's how I thrive. I'm embracing all of that as opposed to trying to reel it back in and live in moderation, because I know if I try that, I'm screwed because I can't live in moderation. I'm just going to slide to the other side of the spectrum. Then I'm going to be a waste of space, and it's not happening.
Yeah, and you couldn't have your physique if you like. I can look at people now that I work with them, and I'm like, they don't cheat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
that's what I love. Is like you can look
Yep.
at somebody, and you can be like, they don't cheat.
Yeah. Yep.
It's dope.
They do the work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why'd you get kicked out of college?
So man, like everybody, right? We all partied when we were younger.
Yeah.
And I say everybody, a lot of people did. I
Yeah.
shouldn't
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
everybody the same deal. Bunch of degenerates did, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
I was one of those. I hated school, man. I graduated so low in high school because I never went ever. I was in jail for truancy.
Yeah.
I was like, I'd rather go to jail than go to sit in this like box. I
Yeah.
was like, they'll put me in another box where people they'll leave me alone.
Yeah. Exactly. I have to take a test over there at least.
Yeah. I was like, shit. So anyway, but I played tennis and ran track in high school, and I don't know, some counselor, somebody. Anyway, they're like, hey, you go play tennis, they'll help pay for your school, you get an education and do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go,
Sure.
So I went, and I went to like one class. I was like, I freaking hate this.
Yeah.
And I just let it ride, and they're like, all right, you have like a 0, so you can't come back.
Yeah. We don't
Like,
want
oh,
you
cool.
here.
I got my excuse now, right?
Exactly.
I'm
Like
gone.
you're taking up oxygen. Just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh man, dude, where can people find you? If they,
Travis
like, wanna
Claywell.
work with you.
Yeah. So well, yeah, I run a fitness business too. I give people weekly macros and give them different workouts. So one more funny story, real quick,
Please.
is I've got scoliosis, so my spine looks like that.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm working on it, but I can't do compound lifts. So I like if people watch me, they're like, "What are you doing?" Like
Yeah.
online doing workouts. I'm like, "Well, I can't put crap on my back.
Yeah.
It's funny stories. I did that. I used to squat real heavy. One time my spine got stuck,
Ugh,
and I crawled to my truck to go to Cairo to get it unstuck, and I was
ugh,
like, never again.
yeah, not doing that again. Yeah,
So yeah, no compound movements. I can't do them. I love them. I wish I could, but I can't. So I don't.
yeah,
Deadlifts, nothing. So anyway, I just like dove into like biomechanics. I hired a dude that was Mr. America, former Mr. America, and he was into it too, and kind of
yeah,
studied him. But anyways, long story short, I teach folks like biomechanics because that's what I do. I hate teaching
yeah.
crap I don't do. Not that I don't believe in the other stuff. I just don't
No,
do it.
it's not your expertise. Yeah, yep.
So yeah, we do weekly macro plans, which you throw a rock and hit somebody that does that, right?
Yeah,
But that's what we do, and we do training too for biomechanics and stuff like that. So my
awesome, man.
Instagram is Travis Clay Wells, and Facebook's Travis Wells.
Okay,
Yeah,
right on, man. I'll put that in the show notes when I upload this to YouTube. Probably the next. You're probably like, I think we're like 2-3 weeks out, so I'll put it in the show notes when we share it. And that way, everybody can connect with you. And yeah, I would highly recommend connecting with the guy, whether it's the real estate stuff, the fitness stuff, just those two things, but more importantly, lifestyle in general. Like you're like my favorite kind of people. It's not just like I'm a fitness expert and like that's what I do, but like you're kind of like an human being, but like you're shredded. Like, okay, cool, good for you. But like you got the fitness, you got lifestyle, like you're living on your terms, like you're giving back to the community with like teaching people stuff. Like you're just one of those people that I think more people need to connect with and be inspired by somebody like you. So I appreciate you, man.
heck yeah, man! Thank you, and thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Nice meeting you in person finally
Yeah,
too.
right. I know. Yeah, hopefully, like we said before we hit the record button, I'll be in Texas in June. Now, if Helen watches this episode, my wife, she's gonna be like, "Wait, what? You said you're gonna be there?" I'm like, "I
You
swear I
got it.
didn't make a decision until I get it approved by you. I swear." But yeah, it'll be cool to hang out in person with you, man. I appreciate it.
Cool. Have a good one, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Yep. I'll see you on the battlefield. Have a good one, everybody.